Alright, what's good YouTube? Prince here, back with another video. Uh, my voice is still sick, so if I sound a little crazy, it is what it is. But Namco actually just finally responded, and we're actually gonna look at a couple tweets from Harada himself. But Namco finally officially responded, and they're actually clarifying what's gonna be in the emergency patch, and that's gonna be coming on the 17th of April. So I'm uploading this video on the 15th, so this is actually pretty soon. So we're just gonna go and look over the changes and see if they've actually been listening. First up, the development team acknowledges that following Season 2 version 2.0 update, the overall game balance has shifted too heavily towards offense, which is true. I'm glad they're willing to admit that, so it's off to a good start at least. We deeply regret not being able to address the improvement and adjustments that the community had hoped for. I really appreciate the fact that they actually apologized. Moving forward, we are committed to distinguishing between issues that can be addressed quickly and issues that require more time and community feedback for proper review. So hopefully community feedback is taken into consideration more, because there's been a lot of jokes and memes about people saying that the whole Tekken team doesn't listen. I don't want to really talk too bad on them because I believe a lot of people have already done that already. So in this upcoming update, we will fix known issues and begin a balance review based on the following policy. Patch notes for version 2.0 scheduled release on Thursday, April 7th. Okay. What? Okay, this is. I actually talked about this earlier. I don't agree with this one, but one, increase the maximum health value to help mitigate situations where matches are decided through overly one-sided momentum. In light of the current damage environment trending toward inflation driven by offensive heavy game balance and increased aerial combo, the maximum health value will be increased. The adjustment is intended to ease situations where matches are too easily decided by one-sided momentum. Okay, the thing about this is, most people, myself included, I don't agree that Tekken 8 needs a health buff. I think buffing health hear me out. I think buffing health just undermines the utilities and assets of poking your opponent. You know, buffing health kind of downplays small Tekken, which is, if you don't know what small Tekken is, it's pretty much using moves at fast start frames to poke your opponent efficiently while, not taking as much risk. You're not getting big damage, but all those pokes do tend to add up over time. And buffing the health kind of undermines the value and decentivizes players from actually considering to play small Tekken and poking their opponent. But to be fair, it doesn't go over how much they're buffing the health. In Tekken 7, they buffed the health by 5, so it went from 170 to 175. If they just add an extra 5 points of health, I think that's okay. I don't think that's anything too crazy. I can do an extra 5 health, but the thing about this is I think with Namco patches, they need to be less vague. Increasing the maximum health value just lets us know that they're increasing the health, but not by we don't know by how much. If it's just by 5 or 4, that's okay. If it's by like 20, that's really gonna undermine poking. To now you die in 2 combos and maybe 2 pokes and that's it. But at least they're trying something. Maybe this change might get overhauled. I believe Nee was tweeting about he wanted a health buff, but when he was tweeting that, I think he was tweeting that from like a very frustrated place, so we're just gonna move forward. 2, gradually adjustments to overly high reward moves. I think when they mean overly high reward moves, I think they're talking to moves that are essentially god tools, or the why not moves that are just so good in neutral or good up close that it makes no sense not to do the move or to not use this move so frequently. The update addresses the overall inflation of attack strength and combo damage by implementing adjustments that can be done quickly to moves that provide excessive reward. We recognize that as a game-wide issue rather than a problem limited to specific characters. Okay, I appreciate this. This is good. This is good. And we plan to continue reviewing and tuning these aspects progressively. So examples of adjustments including this update: balance adjustments to high performance moves that can repeatedly create advantageous situations and lead to one-sided gameplay. So probably the really plus moves. I think moves like Jun's +5 mid homing move if that move was +5 and was like a high, it wouldn't be too crazy if it didn't have much range. But she has a very good sized range mid that is also +5 and is homing on block, which definitely needs to be addressed. Adjustments to moves with disproportionately high reward compared to their risk, ensuring fair risk reward balance. Okay, so this is in relations to God moves or the why not moves. The moves that are just so good, it makes no sense not to do it. 3, rebalancing the offensive and defensive aspect of the heat system. I don't know if this was a wording issue on maybe the community feedback, but again, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but there's nothing defensive about the heat system. Like, there's nothing defensive. When you pop heat, you're trying to just be very offensive. Unless they're referring to the only defensive aspect I can think is heat burst. If you pressure your opponent, or let's say you land like maybe you land like a down forward 1 poke, or you land like a 10 frame punish that doesn't knock down or something, the opponent might instantly just respond with heat burst just to immediately try and take their turn back from your frames. I guess that's what they mean. So maybe they're gonna do some type of change where, because for instance, like characters like Brian, his heat burst still tracks to both sides, which is very strong, which needs to be fixed. So maybe they're talking about heat burst in that asset. I think what they should do is that heat burst should actually just be uh, maybe 18 to 17 start frames for mid for a mid power crush, because if you don't know, heat burst comes out at 16 frames, and that's really fast for an armor move. To be honest, that's pretty fast. I think they should reduce it to 18 startup frames, and I don't think a cutscene should play when somebody pops heat burst. I don't think it should pause the time. There's too much pausing going on in Tekken. There's too many situations in Tekken 8 where the gameplay is being taken out of your hand. Like, rage arts are like 12-second to 15-second long cutscenes. Stage hazards are another 2 to 4 second long cutscene. Heat burst is a quick 2 second cutscene where you can't do anything. You're just forced to watch, or whatever input you've already implemented is just gonna come out. And that's it. And like and when you block like a heat smash, that's like another 2 seconds where you can't really do anything. So hopefully they fix that. Currently, the benefits gained by attacking player through the heat system are considered too great. Following adjustments have been made. Revised damage scaling when using heat dash to suppress combo damage inflation. Adjusted frame advantage on hit for heat engagers. This is really good because there's no reason for heat engagers to be +17 on hit. So I'm very happy that they're doing something about this. So far, this is great. Maintaining benefits for the attacker while allowing the defender more opportunities to respond. So my only thing is, like I mentioned in the first part, it's always still too vague. Like, they say they're going to reduce, like, most likely they're going to reduce the frame advantage for heat engagers, but the question is by how much, because right now it's currently +17 if you get hit by a heat engager. So is it going to be +17 to +15? Because that's not going to do anything. You're still not going to be able to move. You're still going to just be guessing. But if it's something like +17, gone from +17 to now it's +7 or +6. If it's like +6 now that's actually big, because that's actually something you could work with. I think heat engagers should be like +5 to +4 on hit, because that way you can at least do something. You can at least step, and now maybe the person who's doing the heat engager would have to think about tossing out a homing move. And traditionally in Tekken, when you toss out a homing move, you kind of give up your turn. There are certain exceptions to the rule, like Anna's forward 2, which is +4, which has always been +4. It's been +4 for a long time in Tekken Tag 2, Tekken 7, so it's nothing new. The only issue is that they increased the range on it. So, but most homing moves like Nina's down forward 1+2, you give up your turn once the opponent blocks it. So we'll see. And additional adjustments have been made to chip damage as follows: reducing additional chip damage during heat. That's good. Change the system so that moves which already deal chip damage do not receive extra chip damage while in the heat state. I didn't really know about this at first. Future updates will also include adjustments to the amount of chip damage dealt by individual moves. Now, my thing is, I don't think you should be taking any chip damage if your opponent's not in heat. I think the only exception to this rule should be a character like Anna because she comes with a debuff mechanic, but I think you shouldn't be taking any chip damage unless the opponent is in heat. But and I'm not the only one that thinks that. A lot of people in the community think that you should only take chip damage in heat, and heat should be something that's constantly going down so that the response to use heat or respond to heat feels more urgent. Because if somebody pops heat and let's say you put them in a combo, the timer pauses where the heat doesn't go down. Heat should always go down no matter what you're doing. And you should be punished for popping heat rather than landing a heat engager. Because if you pop heat, you start with 70% heat. If you land a heat engager, you have 100% heat. So I think that needs to be fixed. Future balance adjustments. In the next update planned for mid-May, adjustments will include reducing air combo damage and reevaluating the performance of heat burst. Okay, so heat burst will be dealt with next patch, not this one. Okay. Additionally, we continue to review the issues that could not be addressed in this update, such as moves that consistently create advantages. Pretty much moves that create big plus frames. You know which moves they're talking about. It's pretty obvious what moves they're talking about. Leading to one-sided matches, attacks with disproportionately high rewards related to their risks. They already talked about that. Moving forward, we remain committed to incorporating player feedback and will focus on resolving cases of overly dominant character performance and interactions that result in one-sided gameplay. Okay, that's good that it's good that they're saying that they're incorporating more player feedback. But here's where I have to start to be negative because they've been saying that they're going to take player feedback into consideration. We've been telling them what they most likely should do, right? But nothing's happening so far. So I'm iffy about this one. I'm not trying to be a doom and gloom, but I think the only reason they're listening, I think the only reason they're going to listen to player feedback now is because the game is in such a die-hard state that, because if we're being honest, a lot of these fixes are just band-aids. They're just band-aids over a big wound. And I'm gonna be honest, if they're really listening to player feedback, if Namco really wanted to show Tekken players that they're really listening to feedback, they would revert the patch. They would revert the patch and they would take everything that they patched. They would take everything in season 2 and just put it into an extra game mode. I think that's the best course of action. That way the resources they spent on season 2 don't go to waste. They could just be recycled in a game mode that casuals can play for fun. And if they were really incorporating player feedback, they would have made the heat system a meter mechanic, similar to Akuma and Geese's and Eliza's meter from Tekken 7. Heat should be something you earn, it shouldn't be something that you're just given. That just makes heat just causes burnout in a lot of players because it's something you have to deal with every round, as opposed to a game like Tekken 7 where you either have to choose between using Rage Drive or using Rage Arts. And once you use the Rage Drive and your opponent blocked it, your rage is automatically gone, and now the opponent doesn't have to worry about your rage or your Rage Arts. That was actually good balancing. So I'm sorry, but I'm iffy about whether or not they're actually going to incorporate player feedback. Because if they were, they either would have reverted the patch, they would have talked about heat being a meter usage issue, heat being meter usage. They would have did something about Brian's heat burst tracking both ways. They would also listen to player feedback and re-input character weaknesses, because they've pretty much eliminated a lot of character weaknesses, and that's what makes second Tekken. Characters should have weaknesses, and the weaknesses should be put back into the game. And people have been saying that. So I don't actually think that they're listening to player feedback. I think what this is they're committed to incorporating selective player feedback. I think that's what they should put there. Like, they're going to pick and choose what they want in terms of what doesn't, because they want to keep the offensive play style of the game intact, and that's pretty obvious. But we're gonna look at some tweets from Harada. One tweet, he did actually talk about the life bar increase. This person said, "Why increase the health, decrease damage all around, and nerf the inflated combo length?" They did actually say in the patch notes that they're gonna decrease the combo damage. So I was kind of weird, like, why would you buff health if you're going to decrease the combo damage anyway? But this person says, why increase health, decrease damage all around, and nerf the inflated combo length? Some moves are so good that they weren't full removal, like Zafina and Jun's ridiculous full screen mids. That I agree with this person. And Harada said, the life bar increase is one of the measures we've been talking about since the arcade release, when we upgraded DR, Bloodline Rebellion, FR, etc. this time season update. And of course, completely apart from this, we will also be tuning the parameters of each character. We will continue to revamp the entire game as quickly as possible after this patch, and we will be updating it consistently. I like this. So please wait for more information. And also, if we go back, I like the fact that he's taking, like, this person said, thank you for listening for the community feedback despite the unwarranted backlash. And Harada actually said, I personally do not think this backlash is at all unjustified. I recognize that is a natural occurrence and we have no choice but to respond by continuing to update. I respect this. He handled this situation like a mature person. This was the most mature thing said out of anybody that works at Namco. This was very mature. Unlike Michael Murray, who consists on blocking people he's never spoken to or interacted with. So it's good to know at least Harada actually has some accountability and whatnot. But that's pretty much going to be the end of the video. Honestly, I will... I think I'm going to re-download Tekken 8 on the update. And I think I'll play the update live and give my thoughts on if it's doing anything so far to help fix or address the game. I don't really think it's going to do too much because a lot of this is just a band-aid solution. But like I said, it's an emergency patch. It's not like a full-blown big update or anything like that. It's just to temporarily make the game more interactive and fun right now. But they're going to obviously... They're going to do more things to increase, they're going to do more things to make the game interactive. Let's put it like that. But right now, I'm iffy about whether they're going to incorporate actual community feedback. My best solution was revert the patch entirely, but I'm going to be positive and we're going to just wait and see. So that's the end of the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section if you actually think that Namco will incorporate player feedback or what they should do, or do you guys think that heat should be something that is a meter and you should have to work to build heater? You should work to build heat, and it shouldn't be given to you every round. Or do you think they should just go straight back to season 1? Just let me know in the comments what you think. And I'm so sorry about my voice. I've been fighting a cold, so hopefully I get better. Like, comment, subscribe, peace, and also join the Discord. We do have a Discord now.